Hello and welcome to my crypto world. This is our third episode, or my third episode. If you've missed any of our other episodes, I invite you to go back and watch those because it's kind of a long, it all kind of runs together. It's a narrative, kind of like a, long running narrative, whatever. The reason I started this little series was to connect with people and to let the people know more about me. People who follow my research, what ones that do. I feel like if you know more about me on a personal level and my personality, that my research becomes more valuable. It's taken, I would say, more seriously. My opinion probably has more value if you actually know me on a more personal level. So that's kind of why I did this, and I've said that the whole time, that I wanted to connect with people and let you all know a little bit about me. So with that being said, today I want to tell you a little bit about my background before I get into some other things. When I was just a baby, a small child, I don't know, maybe just a toddler, we was raised in a home, or I was raised in a home, I was the only child for 18 years, that had dirt floors. And I'm glad we finally got, we moved on up. We don't have dirt floors now. But that's something that's kind of unheard of nowadays, that people being raised or spending part of their life in a house that had dirt floors. Then as I got older, of course, my dad always worked in the coal mines and things like that. But when I was 13, I also worked in the coal mines. And like on the weekends and in the summers, I worked at the coal mines. I would pick the slate rock off the belt as it come out, and you'd get a big pile of that, and you'd shovel it up in a wheelbarrow, and then I'd push it up a hill about, I'd say about 50 yards or so, and dump it. But say they don't really do that now. When the coal mines, what few are still operating, they don't really pick slate rock like that anymore. I enjoyed it. I done it all the way up till I got married, and oh gosh, a long time ago, 20-some years ago. But the coal mining industry was always kind of up and down, and it was hard to go buy a house or buy a car because sometimes you didn't know how long your job was going to last. But yeah, I started working in the coal mines when I was outside the coal mines when I was like 13-year-old. I think that's kind of an interesting piece to my background. I know about hard work. That's why my back's bad, probably. But it gives you a little bit of insight about how I was kind of brought up and raised or whatever. But and when it comes to doing Bigfoot and cryptozoology and stuff like that, a lot of times I get asked the question, what got you into Bigfoot or whatever. But I can't point to one specific event. For some people, they have a Bigfoot sighting, and then from there on out, they research Bigfoot. But that really didn't happen to me. From a young child or a young boy, whatever you want to call it, it was a series of kind of weird things that happened, and I guess probably the first thing I can remember as far as weirdness was I was probably somewhere between 8 and 12, and I'd been up to a friend's house, and it was just starting to get dark, and there was this big bright light in the sky. I told you I was going to rub my nose more. There was this big bright light in the sky. I mean, it was more of a flash, but it lasted for several seconds, and best I can remember, because it's been a long time ago. My thoughts then, I'm sure, was what was that, but it was covered in the newspaper and on the news. Evidently, it was seen for like so many miles, like the whole state of Kentucky or something. I think they said it was a meteor or something like that, a very large meteor coming back into the atmosphere and lighting everything up. But I don't know. They'll tell you whatever they want to when it comes to that. And then later on in life, I've seen several UFO things. Seen a few ghosts. I've had several weird experiences with ghosts and things, which is, I don't know. But the whole series of things, just over time, led me to where I'm at now, I suppose. I always had an interest in Bigfoot. Once I got old enough to understand there was possibility of something of a Bigfoot. I can tell you about another time I had something kind of weird. I was a little bit older. We had a business. We had a video store, which there was some weird stuff happening here. I'll tell about it probably in future episodes. But it's about a 15. It was at the time. It was about a 15 or that bird. It was about a 15 or 20 minute drive to the store that I had, and for several days I kept seeing this shiny bit. Well, it was a UFO, of course, but I can only describe it. It kind of looked like almost like a ball, but it was a little bit elongated, just but very slightly. I'd seen it in the same place every day for probably close to a week. I'm telling us an incredible story here. Be quiet. My bird, he loves me. But every day it was about 10 o'clock in the morning, I would see this thing. It looked like a silver ball. And after about 3 or 4 days, I decided, I said, well, I'm going to take my camera, and if that thing's there today, I'm going to stop and take a picture of it. Probably old junky Instamatic or something I had, maybe, I don't know. I don't even remember what kind of camera it was. Anyway, sure enough, as I was driving to work that day, there was this silver ball thing. And I pulled over the car and stopped to take a picture. Just stayed there. I got out of the car. I closed the door. Put the camera up to my face to take the picture. It's the whole time it stayed there. When I put the camera up to take the picture, the little silver ball went in behind the cloud. I've never seen it again. Went through, I still drive through there. Never seen it again. I waited even after the little silver ball thing went in behind the cloud. I waited for a long time to so, well, it's got to come out. I'll take the picture then. It never came back out. I've never seen it in that area again. I've never seen that again ever, nowhere. But that was kind of a weird thing. I guess about that time I was probably early 20s when that happened. But I know some of you've probably seen some of my other videos stuff where I told about my Bigfoot encounter. At the time I didn't know it was Bigfoot, but that's what it was. When I was about 16-year-old, 15. And when me and my dad was coon hunting, that was another weird experience where we bumped into had to be a Bigfoot. Didn't know at the time, but anyway. So I've had a series of weird things happen. They still happen. And I guess it piqued my interest in that kind of stuff, and even when I was young. So it kind of got me over into, I was just curious about stuff like that. I like to know more about it, what it is, where it comes from, what it wants. I don't know, it's just weird. I guess some people like that, they have a drive kind of to find out about things like that. And sometimes I've been like that. Well, I've been like that on and off my whole life. I've been doing this, I've been doing research and things for over 20 years, I'm sure. I know, well, I was telling you about the silver ball thing. That was in my early 20s, and it wasn't long after that me and a couple of friends, we got into some local legend stuff that's around here. And I know I was working on little documentary film way back then. Of course, I never finished it. I worked 80 hours a week, and it was hard to find time to do anything. I still have it somewhere on VHS tape. Probably don't have a way to play it, but I still have it. And I hope to expand on some of that through these videos. There was one thing that's really weird that I'll tell you about it a little bit. They was putting in a new bridge, a concrete bridge. This was probably 60s. I wasn't here then, but I mean, I know I wasn't even alive. But we'd heard about it briefly, about them finding something when they put the bridge in. So, of course, we went to the library and went through the news archives and researched it that way. And sure enough, we found out that when they was putting the bridge in, they found a cave. And supposedly inside the cave, well, that's what the newspaper reported, that they had found stone chairs and tablets and prophecies and all kinds of stuff. And we had researched that, and it even told how they sealed the cave up and everything. And we actually thought at the time we might have actually found that, because that was a location that everybody around here would probably know where we put the 119 bridge in at. But I do know there is another cave system on the other side of the river. So I take it that from what I could gather and what we researched back then and what I've researched recently about caves, is that the river supposedly cut the cave in two. And so you had part of it on one side, part of it on the other side. Well, I know the one part that's on one side of the river that you can get into it, and I know some people that got into it. Shut up, Jake. And I know some people that got into it. One guy got into it. He stayed in there and he got lost. He almost died. He was able to find a small opening and dig his way out. I mean, he was in there for like a week or something, and about died. They had luckily they had some canned food like Viners and stuff like that to eat, or they wouldn't have made it. But down on the other side of the river, which I guess would be the south side, maybe north, be the east side, I think. I'm not good with that. Anyways, that's on the east side. I guess it'd be the east side is where they found the cave with the stone thrones and tablets and things like that. But they sealed it up. I guess they didn't want nobody in there, and they sealed it up. And we thought we'd found it out. We couldn't get into it. It was sealed up, but we couldn't. We're not for sure, but I know it was in the right area. But that's kind of a little interesting legend around here that I'm pretty sure that a lot of our local people don't know about it. I've been wanting to dig all that back up and put the pieces back together and make a little video or something about it. I don't know if I ever get to or what, but that's kind of a, I bet I was in my early 20s then, so that's been over 20 years ago. So people want to maybe dispute that I've not been doing this very long. That's not true. I've been doing it a long time. I just haven't shared a whole lot of stuff. For years I didn't share anything on the internet much. I had some private forums and stuff like that where we talked about Bigfoot and UFOs and stuff like that, but I never did share actual research much or anything like that on the internet. I have now the last several years, but to be honest, I didn't really, when it comes to Bigfoot, I didn't really know that the Bigfoot community was so large and there was such a big interest in it. I just thought it was a few of us nuts who was interested in it and wanted to talk about it and research it, and I kind of thought the general consensus was that from the general public was that it wasn't real and it was all a hoax, but of course I still wanted to find out for myself, and I did, and I know. But what else can I tell you about today? I know this is probably going to be my longest video. I don't know. I know it's probably not very exciting, but if you like to hear about my life and some of the things I do, I guess you might like it. It might hold your attention a little while. And if not, you get the awesome excitement of hearing my bird whistle. Don't give me that eye, Jake. But anyways, but there's a lot of local stuff here too. I like to maybe talk about on these videos, and I'd like to tell you more about my personal life to some degree. I'll tell you just a brief, interesting story. It's my great grandfather. He's dead and gone now. But he always claimed that there was a curse put on him, or something. I don't know, something. I don't even know who's supposed to put the curse on him. He was like full-blooded Cherokee or something himself. And he always claimed that. Of course, I was young. It's been handed down to me. I don't know how true it is, but it's kind of interesting. He always claimed that there's some kind of curse on him, that at nighttime he would turn into a horse, and he was rode in clay mud, which that alone seems like, well, that's just crazy. But the thing is, some mornings he would wake up and there would be clay mud on his feet and on the beds, on his hands and things, which I don't know how that works. I'm not much into curses, so that's kind of interesting. But maybe my whole family has had a series of weird stuff happen. Maybe that's why I'm where I'm at, as far as that goes. I don't think I would like that. Turned into a horse. Riding in the clay mud. But I don't know. What else can I tell you about today? Another thing I want to maybe talk about today, I seen where some people had asking about Dogman sightings in my area and reports that I've taken in. I've taken in a couple Dogman reports through our website, thecryptocrew.com. But in our local area, we have a sighting. To me, it sounds like a Dogman. These people have some pasture land with cows on it, and over the years they've seen, some of them call it a werewolf, because it's got got the snout and things. But it's big, and it's been seen several times in this field, or chasing the cows, or next to the cows. And I've investigated it and wrote about it some on my blog, on our blog or website or whatever, thecryptocrew.com. I think I entitled it something about Creature on 119 or Highway 119 or something like that, if you want to look it up. And I come to find out, I've talked to several people who are who know the people who own the field, which I know the people too, I just don't ever see them any. And they did have, I think it was 3 cattle come up missing, completely gone. And they had several that had like big claw marks down their back legs and stuff. And they had a few that the tail was jerked completely off of. So I don't know what would do that. Jerk the tail right off of a grown cow. But from my brief researching on that, and I always look, I drive by there often, I always try to watch. It mostly has been seen of the morning, like from break of daylight up to about 10, 11 o'clock. And there have been several reports of it. So I always try to watch that, and I've talked to a few people about it, and I seen where, years ago, I seen where a guy who had seen it, I think he was going to work or something, and he had wrote about it and asked on the internet about if anybody else had seen it or knew anything about it, what was it, that type of stuff. And a few people, of course, make fun of you. It goes with the territory. But so that's I think that could be a Dogman. That's the only one I know locally of that possibility that could be a Dogman. But I've taken in a few reports, and a lot of people want to know, what do you think a Dogman is? Well, in my opinion, I would say probably a Dogman is probably some relative to Bigfoot. I don't know, some kind of offshoot of it, I suppose. But in the next episode, maybe I can cover some other things. If, like I said, if you want to send in a question, or if you want to reply and down in the up under the YouTube video, and what kind of topics you might like to talk about, or like to hear me talk about, or ask about. Just feel free to do that. And I appreciate everybody that comes to the channel and watches this. I know probably it's not the most exciting thing in the world for you to sit and watch, but hopefully you can find some good information in it, and you get a little bit of background on me, of course. And I got some work to do today. I'm gonna try to build some hand railing and stuff for my porch. So I'm gonna get out there and do that. And until the next episode, I'll see you guys. Peace.